Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. Well, I got a viewer letter today from a guy who's had a tree fall on 2 tractors. Ouch! And now he's looking to buy a mower to fit the replacement tractor that he found. And we're going to talk about the difference between flail mowers, rotary cutters, or brush hogs, or bush hogs, or toppers, whatever you want to call them, and finish mowers. Let's get to the letter first. Letter says, "Hello, Mike. I watch your YouTube videos, every single one. Thank you. I have a channel myself, and I'll put a link in the description down below if you want to check out his channel. My tractor got demolished by a tree falling on it, and I watched his video that shows what happens when a tree falls on a tractor. It's not very pretty. It was a TC25, which is a new Holland, one size below the one I own. I love that tractor so much. As a great stroke of luck, I found an almost identical tractor for sale only 5 miles from me. It's a TC25D with only 350 hours on it. Nice find. This tractor also has super steer, which was an option back in those days, which is very cool. Anyhow, this new-to-me tractor is almost identical except for the lower horsepower. I figure I will not notice it when using the bucket loader, but I want to buy a mower for the tractor of some kind. And this has got me wondering, since my new tractor has less horsepower, which type of mowing attachment takes the least power to run? I want to compare a brush hog rotary cutter and a finish type mower in one of those flail or hammer type mowers. In all reality, I don't want a brush hog because they stick out back so far. I was considering a 2 or 3 blade finish mower or a flail mower. I know a flail is more expensive, but I think it has the least amount to stick out behind a tractor. But anyhow, if you could advise which would run best behind my lower horsepower TC25D tractor, I would appreciate it." Signed, Doozer. Well, thank you, Doozer. And again, Doozer's got a video on his website where he talks about the tree falling on his tractors. It's pretty ugly what happened and sad. But he's asking the difference today between a flail mower, a brush hog, and a finish mower. Well, the first thing that's different, and this is important to Doozer, is the fact that it sticks out less. And if you watch his video, he's in timber, he's trying to get around in a tight area, and he's got a small tractor. So from that standpoint, the flail mower is going to be the top of the group, because the flail mower sticks out less distance than the finish mower, and definitely less distance than a single gearbox rotary cutter. So what are we thinking about horsepower? Well, Doozer, the bad news is, in my mind, if you could compare apples to apples, and it's really hard to do with a flail mower, a rotary cutter, and a finish mower, the flail mower is going to take the most horsepower of all of them. And if you've never been around flail mowers, and believe me, I'm not an expert on flail mowers, in the area I live in, we usually use rotary cutters or bush hogs to cut our rough cut fields. And so I've not had any experience with flail mowers, but I know what my viewers tell me. The thing about a flail mower, it's a drum that spins this way horizontally with a bunch of hammers on it, as Doozer mentioned. And those hammers just beat the pulp out of whatever's there, any vegetation. And people that have flail mowers, every single one I've ever encountered, love them. They would never own anything but a flail mower. They are more maneuverable. They do a cleaner job of cutting, but that drum spinning with those hammers does take more horsepower. It's hard to compare to the other 2 types of cutters because they're so different. But getting all those hammers swinging at the same time with your tractor does take horsepower, and it takes horsepower to mulch up the products that they cut, which those hammers will do. Now, they are a lot safer. In rocks, they won't throw a rock like a rotary cutter will. A rotary cutter will zing a rock the distance of a football field, and you don't want anybody around when you're cutting with a rotary cutter. Well, let's go and talk about rotary cutters now. Now, what Doozer said is good. If you have a single gearbox rotary cutter, it's going to stick out. It's going to be one set of blades that sticks way out. And so when you're trying to get in tight areas, that's going to be tough. If you have a dual spindle rotary cutter, it's going to cost more, but some of the manufacturers make those where there's two gearboxes, one going driving blades and one leading to another, and you're going to change the geometry. You're not going to have as much cutter sticking out behind you. So you can get a wider cutter that doesn't pick up the front end of the tractor and is easier to get around. So that is an option. Now the difference between a rotary cutter and a finish mower are pretty apparent. Rotary cutters got a thick blade. They're designed for brush. They will cut grass, but they're designed for brush, and usually they can cut up to 2 to 3 inch material. If you get a heavy one, I've seen them that cut 5 to 6 inch material. You can, about anything you can drive over, you can cut with a heavy duty rotary cutter. Now on a small tractor like that, I'm going to guess you can probably only get about a 4-foot flail mower, and one that's pretty light and designed for smaller tractors. You can get a 4-foot rotary cutter or brush hog or bush hog for a tractor that size. But if you're going to go with a finish mower, because of the way they're designed, you can probably get a 5-foot on a 25 horsepower tractor. And the reason that is finish mowers are designed to cut one thing only, and that's grass. They're not designed for rough cut material. And so you can actually get a bigger finish mower for your smaller tractor than you can a rotary cutter, but you can't cut as much with it. Finish mowers are generally driven by a belt, and that's your slip clutch. You hit something that doesn't move, the belt's going to slip. There's no slip clutch or shear pin in most finish mowers, and that's how they work. The good news is you can get a bigger one with your tractor. The bad news is you can't cut as much. And even if you're cutting grass, if you're trying to cut grass that's 4 foot tall, you can choke out a finish mower real quick. They're just not designed for that. Think about it as a lawnmower that goes on your tractor, and you'll kind of understand the limitations of a finish mower. But Doozer, that's your options. Flail mowers are, again, I don't have much experience with them. They're more expensive than a rotary cutter, but people love them. If you can find one that fits your tractor, that may be the way you want to go because they are much more maneuverable. A rotary cutter would be the second choice, but they're going to stick out further. And then a finish mower would be the third choice, and they're going to have staggered blades, so they're not going to stick out as bad. So if your main concern is how far it sticks out behind the tractor, flail mower would be your top choice, finish mower second, and a rotary cutter third. And I think you'd already figured that out. I appreciate you watching. A few years ago, I did a video where we evaluated in the field a flail mower, a rotary cutter, and a finish mower. And if you'd like to watch that video, just click here. Here's a link to Doozer's video. It shows the 2 tractors that died when the tree came down, kind of a sad story. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with unique items for sale for the tractor owner. And here's where you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.